Okay, so let's talk about forming an LLC in the state of Pennsylvania specifically. So, the first thing that you're going to want to do, because you can do this all online yourself, and actually, before we even start this, let me just clarify that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not certified in any of this. But as for context, I've formed 5 LLCs for different like small businesses that I own, and then I've also helped other people as well do this. So do more research. Don't just listen to me. I think that's always a good thing to do. But that being said, it is online. You can do it yourself. It's an online portal and everything like that. So, there's definitely other people that have done it. And most of the time, too, I'll say this as well, depending on what the business is, most of them, I mean, like, there's certain industries and business types that would probably be more difficult, but the ones that I've done have mostly been like online businesses. It could add more complexity if you have multiple owners, things like that. But if you're a solo entrepreneur, and you just want the legal, protection of an LLC, and you want to actually form a real entity, I have had no issues when I did this method and then also supplemented with other things like just making sure that my bookkeeping's tight, all my bank accounts and stuff like that. Like all those ancillary things are tight. So without further ado, let's just dive into how to form an LLC, specifically in the state of Pennsylvania. Your state might be similar depending on how you do it. Okay, here's what I like to do. I like to type in on Google PA business search. The reason I like to do this is because normally the first one here, corporations.pa.gov, if you go there, this, I cannot tell you how many times I've been on this page. This is just a really cool thing once I discovered it. When you type in a search in this box right here, you will see all of the businesses. It's just that. It's searching the business entities that are registered in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's kind of cool because if you know like a friend or a different place like in the state that's registered with the state, and you can also do this. You can also like operate in Pennsylvania, for instance, but register elsewhere. We're not getting into that because that's like kind of like a step above. You could probably like change that later. We're just talking about the basics here. But the point is that this is a vital page because the name that you come up with for your business needs to be unique in the state that you're doing it. Again, in this instance, PA. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get to this page, and you're going to want to type in the kind of search for availability of the name in a sense. If you already have a business established with branding and everything like that, then kind of just pray that you can get a similar LLC name. It's not the end of the world if that's not the case, because you can kind of just use the legal name and then kind of finagle the other stuff. Again, I haven't had a lot of experience with that, so maybe look for more information on that. But we're going to assume that the name is available. And just to give you an idea of how it works, I don't know. We'll just come up with an example here. We'll just go Fueled by Progress. That's one of the ones that I own. So you can see like once you have an established entity, it's going to show up here. There's a lot of things that we're going to reference here. So I'm actually going to just duplicate this tab because we're going to need it. And I'll use mine as the example here. But you'll see Fueled by Progress or your business name. Current name, we'll kind of talk about that. That just means that it's a entity and it has like the LLC. You could have different things, or you could have like fictitious name or stuff like that. Or actually, maybe that's over here in entity type. Yeah, I think current name is always pretty much going to be that. But you can see here entity type, limited liability company, entity number. The address is an important thing. The one that's going to show up here, obviously that's public. I don't want to get into this right now. We'll talk about that when we get to that because there's a whole thing there. And then just status, active, and then domestic means that it's operating here in the state. You would see foreign if you were somewhere else or like the business was operating in a different state or something like that. But we're going to keep that there because it's an important page, and like I said, we're going to reference it. Let's go back to the search business entities. Step number 1 of this process is to go in here and make sure that you have yours is available, like your name that you want it to be. So, John's Donut Shop LLC. Make sure that first part, you don't need the LLC part. Make sure that your actual name is available. So do a search and make sure that it's available. It's just going to save us a little bit of time in a second here. Once you've done that, This is like public front end. You need to create an account. And what you're creating an account for is kind of like the Department of State. There's this new thing called PA One-Stop Shop here. So if we go and we click in log in, that gives us, this has changed recently, but this is the newer system. It's actually a lot better than it was. So you come in here, you do business one-stop shop. If you have an account already, log in. You probably don't. So you come over here to register. You press register. You get a username. You can make it whatever you want. Just make sure you follow like these types of things. Username, password, confirm password, stuff like that, normal stuff. First name, middle name, last name, date of birth, all that jazz. Mobile phone. Just this is basic information. And what this is you are creating an account on the PA business, Keystone login, one-stop shop thing. That is going to give you the access to the back end portal thing, like the State Department's website. We're going to need that in order to form a domestic limited liability company. Now, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in mine to show this, but you need to come in here and you need to do this because this is the way that you can do it yourself. And if you had like a lawyer or somebody do it, like maybe you wouldn't need your own account, but honestly, it's just creating an account, so you should probably just do it. This is what the dashboard looks like. It's nothing crazy. We don't need to talk about too much stuff in here. There's like other pieces of this that I haven't really dove into, but like, again, if you're talking about taxes or anything, we're not going to talk about taxes or anything like that. If you're interested in that, I would seek a tax accountant, like an accountant, a business accountant. I think that's always pretty important. But basically, when you go through that process of getting set up, read the instructions because they just made this really like confusing now. It's better because it's kind of like a one-stop thing, but they merged two systems. That's a technical thing. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Here's the thing. When you come in here, go to pen file. That's where you want to be. That's where we're going to actually do the stuff. When you sign up, it's going to be different. I apologize. I can't really show that because I'm not going to create a new account, but you're going to come back out to this page at some point, like sort of the login page, and it's going to look more like this website where it has this older style and everything. You'll know when you get there. I'm pretty sure you have to do something to there's just a little stupid step in there. I can't remember exactly what it is, to link your account on here to the account that you created with that one-stop thing. Just follow the instructions. It definitely tells you exactly what to do. You just have to do it the right way. But once you're in here and you have access to this is like your dashboard, right? If you had like a bunch of filings, you could see it in here. If you had completed filings, whatever. If you scroll down, this is where we want to start. So you start or manage your business filings. You scroll down to whichever one you want. In this case, domestic limited liability company is probably what we want to do. We don't need to worry about these amendments, terminations, change register office. If you set it up the first time, you won't need to change any of that sort of stuff. And then if you come to that point, Google that. There's a lot of other good info on that. But this is the one we want. Certificate of Organization, Domestic Limited Liability Company. This is the one that I'm familiar with and the one that's worked for me. So if you click that, it's going to open the actual form to start this and put in the information to create this limited liability company. It is being slow for some reason. But once we get there, here we are. This is it. This is literally all you have to do. So we're going to step through this and we're just going to, you can fill it out to your best of your abilities. I'll try to give you the best tips on the things that I've done and what I know about these. And we'll just kind of run through it. So first thing it asks you, are you a veteran or active reservist? I am not, but I'm sure you know the answer to that question for yourself. Save and continue. I'm just going to toggle through these tabs up here, but when you do that, check it or don't check it, save and continue. Next one. This is basically the same exact thing that we did like 6 minutes ago when we were talking about the searching. This is where I said it's just going to make this easier because this is a little built-in search thing that's going to say, yeah, it's available or no, it's not available. If you already had your name picked out before you got to this point, you should be good unless something changed in the last 6 minutes before you got here, but you should be good. So again, let me just show you a quick example. If I try to write, if somebody comes in here and tries to do like another Fueled by Progress, somebody tries to make a business called Fueled by Progress, when we already saw that I already have that, It's going to tell me the designator is missing, so just click something. We'll talk about that in a second because I wanted to illustrate this point. But for Fueled by Progress, we're going to search this, and it's going to tell us, I don't know why it's being so slow, but it's going to tell us this. So if you see this, you're in bad shape. You need it. So name is not currently available. Please select one of the things below. I want to select a different name. It's just going to reset you. A name which is not distinguishable. I don't even know what this is. I would consult somebody because I'm not exactly sure. You need to pick it. I'm just going to say you need to pick a name that's unique. So I would advise finding one that works. All right, now I'm going to give you one quick tip here, a couple quick tips, and we're just going to type in hopefully something that I don't actually know, but we'll just type in like Joe's Donut Shop, okay? So I'm going to give you one small thing that I realized. The first thing I'll talk about this designator. You can pick whatever you want here. My suggestion would just be to pick like LLC or like L.LLC. I mean, I don't know. I just like, me personally, this is completely, I guess, stylistic, and I like just like an LLC like this. Now, I just want to point out one super small thing. If you go back over to mine, you'll see Fueled by Progress, comma, and then like obviously a space LLC. If you leave it just like this, you're not going to get that comma and that space, which again, the comma and space really don't mean anything. But for mine, I just like the look, so I just typed in a comma and a space. And then I press search. And then hopefully nobody has Joe's Donut Shop like that, because that would be sad and I have to think about something else. I have to put something else in that box. Perfect. This is exactly what you want to see right here. Obviously not Joe's Donut Shop. You want to say your thing, but you'll see that. And like, this is what I was saying. You don't need to do that. You can, you don't need to, it doesn't matter. But yeah, this is what you want to see. You want to say name availability disclaimer. And it says the name sought appears to be available at this time. Cool. So you should do it because it's first come, first serve. So if you have it available, you want to keep moving through this. So let's do that. Save and continue. Next thing they're going to ask is some business details. So it's going to have the name of your limited liability company that you just selected. This is what I was talking about. So I would highly recommend, I'm going to do my best to explain it, but you should probably look up what a registered agent is. There's some guidelines. Ultimately, though, the basic definition of a registered agent or a registered office or whatever is somewhere where mail can come to that place. Like if the state or somebody, mainly the state, it needs to reach you for some sort of reason, or the main thing that people say is like, if you're being sued, the mail needs to go there. This is just a legal thing. Like I said, look it up more, but you need some place where the mail is going to go. And because this is for that reason, like subpoenas, basically, then you need somewhere where somebody can, that is literally where it is. Somebody can serve you at, or mail can be brought to. That's the main reason for it. I don't plan on getting sued, but you never know, I guess, right? And like I said, if we pop back over here for a second, this is the address. Whatever you put in this box is going to show up right here. Now, like I said, this is a UPS private mailbox thing at like a UPS store location that I use. I'm not going to say that I recommend doing that, but I'm going to say that is currently what I do. What I would probably recommend you potentially do is actually get a registered agent service. For instance, what I would say is one of the ones that I know is Harbor Compliance. And they have offices, like addresses in all sorts of different states. But specifically, I know the one in Pennsylvania is in Lancaster. That doesn't mean anything, because what happens is if you use this, I'll try to do this two different ways. If you use a service like this, like Harbor Compliance or another registered agent service, which I think they have registered agent services. Look this up. This is about $100 a year, I believe. And all they do is the mail that gets sent to, most of it's spam. I will tell you that. Most of the mail that gets sent to your address on file here is probably going to be spam. I know that's kind of how it was for me. It's like stupid little offers that like Comcast or places like that just like pull information off of this database when new businesses are formed. But again, in the event that like important information needs to be sent to your business, it's probably going to go to this address. So there is services out there that will handle that for you. You'll get like a little back end dashboard here on this website, and your mail will come in, and you'll be able to see everything in there, and you'll be able to tell them like, okay, you can just get rid of that, or you can send it to me, or whatever. There's a bunch of different things. You just need to understand what that service is. Do you need it? Depends on what you want to do. If you just have one business, I don't think it's a bad idea, because it is going to take care of that whole step for you. It's obviously meant for this. This is a registered agent service. It's really not that expensive, $100 a year. I am not affiliated with Harbor Compliance. I had it for about 5 minutes, and then my needs changed. So what I would say is consider looking into this. I've heard pretty much just good things about this. So that's the first thing. There are other places, though, that you can get like kind of a lot different stuff. And I would look into those too, because depending again on what your needs are, you might need, and I'll cover this in other videos, you might need phone service. You might need like other little things like that. And I know there's probably other vendors out there that provide that. Here's an option, though. Here's another option, okay? If you wanted to, well, let me touch on that real quick, though. If you wanted to do Harbor Compliance, for instance, you'll choose option B, Commercial Registered Office Provider. And then there is a drop-down list. And here you could just go through all these if you want. Like, these are all different places that use them. And I will show you what you would do if you wanted Harbor. You do Harbor Business Compliance Corporation. You click that, and then you click the county that it's in. And it's going to give you the county, obviously, of all the counties of Pennsylvania. And like I said, I believe this one is in Lancaster for their PA office in Lancaster, so you pick that. Okay, if you want to do that, that's an option. Like I said, look into that more. I'd probably kind of recommend that, just because the way that I'm doing it is not, it doesn't make financial sense unless you have more than one thing going on. Now, here's something that's free, though. And if you have like an actual office space and you click on option A here, you could just put your office in. Okay, if you had like an office for whatever your business type is, and you don't mind the potential chance of somebody coming in that office space and serving you, again, like I said, this is just a weird legal thing, then you could just put that in there. It's like, okay, fine. The law, or like the strong recommendation for registered office, is somewhere where you can receive mail and somewhere where somebody is like present 9 to 5, on a typical work day, because that is what that is for. Like I said, just look into it more, make your own decision. You really have like 3 options. The actual place you work, I guess it could technically be your house too. I know people that do their house, but just look into that. Okay. Like I said, I like the Harbor Compliance option, but it depends on what your needs are and what you want to do. So that is the hardest step, though, in this whole thing. I will guarantee you, just trying to wrap your head around what that is, just because it's a legal thing, and then making that decision. But there you go. Okay, so do that, and then we'll go over here to the next thing. You can press save and continue once you're finished with that, and we'll go to organizers. Okay, so organizers means like the people that are putting your business together. I like to call it like the owners. I kind of think that, but here's the thing that this is a really important piece of information. What I've started to learn is that ultimately, when I was setting up my businesses, the state and the federal government, in so facto like the IRS, they don't really care who the owners are. And what I mean by that is they only give a shit about one person. Like, they only care about the person that's going to pay the bill, in a sense. Because like if you go to like the IRS level and you get like an EIN, there's only one name that you put on there. It's called the tax responsible party. So you could have 15 owners, I guess, hypothetically, but one person is going to get, the call or, whatever, the communication if they ever need money. So if you ever miss or whatever. I haven't had that happen to me, but I'm just telling you that like that is how it is. So in this case, they do kind of care who's in this, because let's say you have multiple individuals that are organizing or owning this business. You can go to individual, you can switch to individual name here, and you can add multiple individuals, which we'll see here in a second. So you add like first name, last name, whatever, the address, and then click add organizer, and you can have more than one. Now, again, the reason that I said that though is because they only care to like a degree. Like, I don't actually think organizers is synonymous fully with owner of the business. It's just kind of who's like putting this together. Because ultimately, again, the state really only cares too that like they're getting their money and you're doing business legally, I guess. They don't really care about the ownership. The ownership stuff, which we won't touch on this fully, is way more important like internally in the business and like legally, but not directly with the state. I'll give you a quick example because I don't want to delve too deep into this because I'm not even super educated on it because most of my stuff is just me. Let's say that you had two people owning a company. You need to have, once this is all complete, you need to have an operating agreement. And all an operating agreement is, you can look up templates online. It just says like the situation of the business. Like owner one owns how much, owner two owns how much, what happens if somebody decides to leave, what happens if somebody dies, all these different like little, it's like a contract. It's just an agreement between two people or however many people to own the thing. You should probably still have one if you're an individual, but I'm not going to tell you that I do because I really don't. But you should just know like that piece of your business, and because you should take it seriously and you should know. So all of that being said, if there is an organization setting this up, like for some reason, I kind of had this, like if you have a parent company, so I have MJS Industries, I own MJS Industries, and then MJS Industries owns these other brands. If you were doing something like that, you could probably come in here and you could say organization name, and say like your parent company. You're probably not going to need to do that though. If you're just a person and you own this business, just click on individual name. And if you're just one owner, just put your stuff in here. This address is not public. It's just your address, basically, even on file with the state. I'm not sure if they even like check that, but just put your resident address, your residential address here. Do those couple things there. Press add organizer. And if it's just you, you're done. If you need to add more people, the same thing will come up and you'll see your information stored at the top there. But once you're done with that, we can move on to the next section. It's just, again, to tie like a person to the business in a sense. But again, they mostly care about the money and not really the legal structure of your business when it comes to like who owns it and stuff. That's more of an internal affair, truthfully, from everything that I've seen. All right, forum questions. So the effective date of the certificate of organization, unless you have, I don't know why you would click the second option. Just click the first option if you want it to be as soon as they file it. And yeah, like just as soon as like you send it to them and they're done processing it, boom, it's ready. You could do the other way. I'm not really sure why you'd want to, like I said, but I guess if you wanted to file it today and have it be like effective in a year, I don't know. Let's just do the first one. Okay, these next ones are: the company is a restricted professional company organized to render the following restricted professional services. I'm going to click applicable just so you can see this. It's a silly form the way this is laid out, but I'm going to show you this probably because this isn't going to apply to you. It means like things that you need like almost licenses for. So like chiropractic, dentistry, law. Honestly, in my opinion, if you are in any of these, you should probably not be doing this yourself because I have no idea what they want to see. I mean, there's a place for like attachments and stuff, so maybe you can just like throw in your chiropractic certificate or whatever. But this is what I'm talking about. If your business is more, I would honestly say regulated, like you need to probably consult somebody else. So just if you're not on that list, just go to not applicable and that won't even pop up. Don't even look at it. And then down here, limited liability companies shall have the purpose of creating general public benefit. I'm going to click applicable because I think more stuff pops up or like a box or something, but you're probably going to do not applicable because I'm pretty sure this is like for nonprofit, like a general public benefit. That's not what this is. So you're going to want to put not applicable for that. Probably. Again, look at your situation, but I would say the ones that I've done, not applicable for both of those. All right, then we go to docketing statement. So this is what I was talking about. So provide an individual name and mailing address responsible for initial tax reports. This is the same thing that the IRS does for the tax responsible party. If it's just you, then this is real easy. But if it's like two people, then you have to decide like who is the person that's going to get this stuff. I'm not saying that like they're fully liable. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it's easy if it's just you. Again, if you have partners or whatever, do more research. That's never a bad option, right? So go ahead and put your stuff in there, same as that other page. This is, notice how this does not have a red piece next to it, this FEIN. If you had an EIN for some reason, you could put it in there. I never have, because I don't know why you would get an EIN before you create the business at the state level. Not exactly sure why you would do that, but I've never done that. I always create the LLC at the, at the state level, like we're looking at here. And then I go to the IRS and I get an EIN number. Again, that's a separate discussion because we're not at that point yet. But this is, you can just leave it blank because you don't need it. It's optional. Down here, description of business activity, just say what it is. Just say, we're a computer repair service. We're a social media management company. It doesn't need to be crazy defined. It just needs to be truthful, and it just needs to somewhat describe what you are going to do to make money. Don't overthink it. Just put something in there, because I really don't know how much they actually really look at that. They just want to make sure that it fits within the parameters of the things, and it's not, that other stuff that we looked at or anything else like that. Next page is attachments. I have never, ever uploaded something on these. I'm pretty sure it's like just additional documentation of like, if you had to be if you need a certificate or something like that. All right. The next one here is declarations and signatures. And this is pretty much it. So down here, I didn't add any organizers, but what this would say is your name, and you have to just type in your name next to, like, there'd be a little box here. I'm not going to go back and show this because it's very self-explanatory. Just the only thing I'll say here is make sure that you type your name, because one time I didn't type my name. I typed like MJS Industries or something like that when I was doing it. That was stupid. Don't do that. And then I had to go through this whole process of like refining this. So don't do that. Just type in your name as it's written there, as you typed it in before. It actually is probably going to be already there or whatever, but just do whatever you need to do to make sure the signature is correct. And then boom, you're good. So press review filing, and then it's going to just take you to a page. I'm not even sure what mine's going to look like because this is actually kind of annoying because I didn't put any information in. So you're going to press review filing, and you're going to see everything. You're going to see all of the information that you went over, that you put in rather, and then just make sure all of that's correct, and then click on like proceed to payment or whatever. And I'm almost positive this is $125 to file this. It might be more, might be less. I'm almost positive it's $125. Actually, let's check just real quick. PA LLC fee. You won't need to do any of this. Yes, 100%. Yep, $125. So that is what you're going to have to do. Review filing, check the stuff, proceed to payment, pay with a credit card, $125. And then as far as what happens next after that, so when I've done mine, I did mine a few years ago at this point. When I did that, it was like roughly like 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know when they process, but it was roughly 1 to 2 weeks that the turnaround time. In more recent times, because of the state of the world, COVID and all that sort of stuff, it has taken longer. The last one that I was a part of, that I did for someone, it took about like a month. So be patient. You can call and ask, but I would just be patient. I would assume, pessimistically assume a month for this to come back. But once you do all that and you pay, then it's in. They start processing whenever they can. They will send you an email to the email on file, the account that you logged in with earlier, to that email address, and they will give you a couple documents. One's like, it says like it's a happy letter or whatever. It says congratulations, and the other thing is like the actual piece of documentation, the certificate of organization for an LLC, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's relatively straightforward. If you tried to get a lawyer to do this, I'm sure it would be a lot more expensive. Again, consult legal counsel if you have any weird questions. But again, that's just my experience, and that's what I've done. And like I said, that's pretty much it. Once you have an LLC, it opens up other things for you. Obviously, you can get an EIN for your business. You can get actual business bank accounts. You can do all sorts of stuff. And more than anything, too, it's just it solidifies your business as a name in the actual at the state level, right? And it gives you the opportunity to, like I said, just do a lot of different things. So that's it for this video here on how to create an LLC specifically in Pennsylvania. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, shoot them my way. I'll do my best to answer. And like I said, definitely do more research. If you have a weird situation that like isn't very streamlined, doesn't fit sort of the stuff that I was talking about there, if you're an outlier in any of those cases, do more research. I always say that, and then perhaps consult like an actual professional, like a legal counsel, because they obviously do this a lot more than I do. But yeah, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you in the next one.